Lieve, het is al best wel een lange episode geweest eigenlijk. Ik denk dat we even dag moeten gaan zeggen. Maar ik ga niet dag zeggen zonder mijn bloemetje. Zo. Ja. Doei iedereen. Hopelijk hebben jullie het leuk gehad. En tot de volgende keer. Doei.
Okay, as painful as that was for me, let's just get on with the video, okay? Please, can we move on? Although this video is gonna be slightly cringe, sentimental, nostalgic, and mostly appealing to a Gen Z audience, this is a video I've been thinking of making for the better part of a year, and trust me, normally my planning skills aren't that good. What you saw in the intro was little Vire making her first video about 12 days before her 9th birthday, and now I'm posting this video on the same day, 10 years later, 12 days before my 19th birthday. Now, to point out the obvious, I clearly haven't changed a bit. However, I think the meaning of having video making as a hobby has changed quite a lot in that time. But before I start spitting out my conclusion here and now, I kinda wanna do the classic thing of going back in time, you know, blah blah blah, explaining things, giving arguments before I give my conclusion. Who has even heard of that anyways? Fucking bullshit. But let's get kinda nostalgic with it, maybe throw in a tad bit of sentimentality and cringe, and let's just go back to, I don't know, maybe around the year of 2012, the year in which the biggest YouTubers we came to know 10 years ago were laying their groundwork. Of course, I gotta acknowledge that I can't give the most accurate account of YouTube in 2012, considering I was the ripe age of 6 and not in the process of getting a sociology degree at the time, but what I can do is give my perspective in hindsight while articulating how little old Vire fell in 2012, with just a couple of sources to go along with it, only for funsies and not all for credibility or anything. So when you see this fun little thing in the corner, there's a source to it. If that's not there, I could be saying fuck all without anyone to back me up on it. Okay, enough of that, on to the fun stuff. Looking at the top YouTubers in 2015, the bulk of them uploaded their first videos in 2012, with one going back to 2008 and the latest going up to 2013. Or is that just what they would like us to believe were their first videos? Trust me, this isn't gonna turn into some Shane Dawson thing, nor am I gonna get involved with cants. All I can say is that uploading a compilation makes it quite clear that wasn't your first video in 2012, Mark. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that it's possible for some of these people to have started posting on YouTube earlier, despite what the upload date on that first video theirs wants us to believe. But since all of that is really hard to figure out, let's just go with 2012. So, in 2012, when they started, YouTube as a job wasn't really in the zeitgeist like it is now. I mean, monetization had only been a thing since 2007, so when they started, it had only been around for 5 years. Therefore, a lot of people who enjoyed uploading videos to YouTube still saw YouTube as a platform where you could just have fun and experiment a bit. Making money from YouTube was unreliable, if not impossible, in their perception. For example, despite monetization having existed on the platform for 4 years, the creators of one of the most successful YouTube channels at the time, Smosh, still opted to work with a media company called Defy Media in 2011, because working with them seemed just more reliable at the time than being at the will of YouTube monetization. This is also the exact reason why multi-channel networks were so big at the time. These are, and this is directly from YouTube, third-party service providers that affiliate with multiple YouTube channels to offer services that may include audience development, content programming, creator collaborations, digital rights management, monetization, and or sales. Many creators opted to work within a network such as Machinima, which was the third biggest channel for a while in 2011. If we're taking my perspective on the entire thing, I believe that despite YouTube being a relatively large platform around 2012, it was still mostly growing in their own specific cultural niche up until right around 2013. After that, YouTube started growing more greatly and started slowly getting integrated into general culture over the years. Which brings us to the year I even made this video to fucking begin with, 2015, the year I uploaded my first video. Considering I just went on and on and on about how unreliable YouTube was in 2012, I kinda want to just lay on the facts of how it was in 2015. At the time, YouTube had 1 billion users, and considering that most years the amount of active users is right around 1/4 of total users, we can say that the amount of active users was around 250 million. It had also been one of Google's properties for about 9 years at the time, and was generating a couple billion, can I say that again, $1 billion in ad revenue, part of which was of course going to creators. Those people who just started uploading videos in 2012 when everything was still less certain and scary are now established YouTubers who are getting money from making videos. MCNs have also passed their peak as there is a bit more trust in YouTube's own monetization system. So despite YouTube now being more of a job and major YouTubers approaching it more as one, its roots still lie in a hobby, because the biggest YouTubers in 2015 approached video making as a hobby just 3 years prior. This can also be seen in the end product. The popular videos are more serious in the sense that they require some planning, scripting, and editing, but the process was still experimental because there was room for creativity and there was no general formula that would almost inherently guarantee a successful video. This experimentation also didn't feel like the end goal was just getting more views, but that it was just being done by the YouTuber for fun. From an outside perspective, it, for example, did seem like they were just trying a new game because that got more views, but because they just liked the game. The video and their job just went along with that. In my opinion, this is a time when YouTube was still kind of like the Wild West, in the sense that it was still being approached as a platform where you could basically do whatever. And it was less like the Wild West in the sense that people were getting paid. Basically, if I want to explain it by comparison and with remotely complicated language, then for example, the law and being a lawyer only really gets approached as a job. It's a task you don't often see as a hobby, and if you wanted to, you could easily get away with just doing the job without any passion for it. Video making at this time got approached as a hobby first. It is the payment that went along with it that could transform it into a job. You had to have passion for it to achieve that. If we really want to delve deep into my perspective and get really nostalgic with it, this relatively contained Wild West is what 8-year-old Elvira in 2015 saw as well. I remember that during this year, I would just be excited sitting in school, wanting to go home so I could play Minecraft or The Sims. This excitement was only there to begin with because of the YouTubers I watched, which at the time was mainly iBallisticsquid, iHascupquake, and LDShadowlady. Apparently, I had a thing for YouTubers where their name started with an I. I don't know what was up with that, but they just made it look like fun to play a game, bake a cake, or just simply film yourself for a day, because they seemed like they were just in it for the fun as well. YouTube was a more simple place in that way. This feeling of excitement continued for the majority of the year, and then in the summer, on August 9th, I finally created my first YouTube account and posted my first video as well. Now, I would be completely lying if I said me and YouTube clicked immediately. It only really did after I finished my first video and my dad told me you might make money from the ads that run on your video. And oh god, wouldn't you know it, 8-year-old Elvira started posting every day and analyzing viewer retention. Not really, of course, I'm kidding. I enjoyed making my first video thoroughly, but 8-year-olds typically don't have all their ducks in a row, so I only started posting again a year later. It wasn't like I abandoned YouTube during that time, though. I was still watching it, and I was also quite preoccupied by doing my own version of iBallisticsquid Sky Island Challenge. I was just kind of missing the filming part in that whole equation. Skipping ahead a year later, I was still watching the same kind of YouTubers, but more importantly, YouTube clicked for me. Like the people I watched, I just started filming or posting things I thought were fun. Playing Minecraft with my friends or with my dad and brother. Playing with my dolls, fucking around in The Sims like I still do now. Drawing or just doing my nails. These were all things me as a 10 to 12-year-old would have done anyways, but I found that filming it was more fun than just doing it plainly. Not because those 4 views I got gave me a dopamine hit, but because video making had become one of my hobbies too. I enjoyed planning out what story I wanted to tell with my dolls and getting other people involved in my antics. Eventually, it came to a point where I was posting 2 to 3 times a day. Don't expect that out of me now, I swear to God. And filming as a hobby became even detached from my already existing hobbies. I enjoyed making a video about what I was planning on posting. A slow morning was made exciting just by filming it, and opening a package and making very bad and remotely mean jokes was fun to film now too. Although this feeling and my love for video making has stuck with me throughout these 10 years, my attachment to the platform has changed greatly. Now, in 2025, YouTube has almost 3 billion accounts with an estimated 900 million active users. Also, not to skip over the most shocking number, a total revenue of $54.2 billion in 2024. Now, the top 15 YouTube channels are dominated by companies or kids YouTubers who have transformed their jobs into fully fledged businesses as well. The only one who still remains as an independent YouTuber who approaches video making in the way that I described is PewDiePie in 14th place. This is a stark contrast with 2015 when the 15 biggest channels on YouTube were mostly actual YouTubers. On that list there are only 6 musical artists with a slightly obnoxious Vivo in their name, and there are also 2 companies, YouTube itself and Machinima. If we take the companies that were once YouTubers and still present themselves as a YouTuber, such as Mrbeast and all those kids YouTubers, there isn't really much that is appealing to me, which makes sense because I'm clearly not their target audience at all. But it is also telling us that something has fundamentally changed on the platform if these are the kind of YouTubers at the top. First of all, with YouTube having 10 times the amount of capital they used to have 10 years ago, they're able to fund their creators more. Besides that, after a real bumpy road, their monetization system has mostly stabilized and has become one of the most well-paying and reliable platforms for creators out there. Lastly, it is, in my opinion, gone mainstream. It isn't just a platform where a random guy can just upload gaming videos anymore. YouTube has attracted enough of an audience for it to also have become a leading platform for the showing of trailers, product releases, and music videos. These 3 factors have not only contributed to the platform being attractive for easy promotion for companies, but also for a new generation of YouTubers. Most YouTubers that are popular now started making videos at a time when YouTube as a job was already established. This doesn't inherently mean that creativity has to be lacking, nor that YouTube isn't done for fun anymore. However, it does mean that YouTube is seen as a creative social platform with a job market within it. How is it different from 2012 when all those YouTubers we talked about started, you might be asking? Well, back then, the monetization system was shaky, had less funds in it, and most people who did have YouTube as a job did it through third-party services. So that job market was there in a way, but it was just very, very, very hidden. But as the platform grows, so did the amount of professional YouTubers, and around 2015 and onwards, these are the kind of YouTubers we saw. This means that viewers didn't only get to see the hobby side, which is fun, spontaneous, and creative, but are also more easily able to perceive the possible monetary side that comes along with it. With there only being professional YouTubers at the top of the platform, the next generation of YouTubers is also raised with them as their role models. So the YouTubers we see now in 2025 were viewers on YouTube at a time when creative jobs are dominating most of what they watched, instead of seeing a platform where you could just post videos for fun. This meant that a larger portion of people started posting with the aspiration of YouTube being their job, in contrast to 2012. But since despite everything, becoming a YouTuber is still very much up to chance, people try to figure out what makes the algorithm tick. Red circles, closing or opening your mouth when you smile, wearing a certain shirt, red arrows, specific capitalization, bright text, exaggerated facial expressions, oddly sexual poses, and an absurd amount of saturation. To say the least, those people have fucking figured it out, and jeez, I think I need to like wash my eyes out or something. I don't know, just give me a sec, Jesus. Okay, I'm back now and I've slightly recovered. This obsession though with the algorithm makes sense in a way. If your goal is to be a YouTuber, you have to figure out how the algorithm works, and you have to be obsessed with the numbers to see what makes them go up. The issue is when there is a general formula that is proven to provide one success, if you're lucky in this case, then anyone who desires to have YouTube as a job will apply this same formula. Especially with the uncertainty of fame and success, these formulas are something that stabilize it for both people already at the top and those who have just started. To highlight my point, I'm gonna use the most simple example I can think of. Mrbeast, of course. Who else would it be? Say what you want about him, but this man has fucking figured it out. I mean, he is the #1 YouTuber with a reason. Jimmy has his own formula, even in his thumbnails, intense facial expressions, saturation, the airbrush tool, and something crazy going on around him. His videos are right about the same amount of intensity in the sense that they are fast-paced and usually involve some kind of high-stakes or intense scenario. This is mostly what is at the surface though. I mean, this is the man who debated about whether it was a good idea to keep his mouth open or closed in his thumbnails. To say the least, he has hashed out most of the details and developed a formula that works. When viewers see him, they also get to see his job and success, which may lead them to pursue that kind of content as well and apply this formula. Not per se in the pursuit of money, but just to have this job as well. It is in that way that YouTube in 2015 slowly started transforming itself from a platform that primarily houses a hobby into one that contains a lucrative job market. A job market consumers are constantly exposed to, a job market in which you could do what you wanted, and a job market that could be one click away. If I kind of had to boil it all down and give this process YouTube has gone through a word, I think the two best suited would be gamification and jobification. Since I'm also starting to find out that I really hate coming up with my own definitions just now, Wikipedia defines gamification as the process of enhancing systems, services, organizations, and activities through the integration of game design elements and principles in non-game contexts. The goal is to increase user engagement, motivation, competition, and participation through the use of game mechanics such as points, badges, leadership boards, and rewards. Jobification is a less common term. It essentially means a transformation from doing something out of passion into a serious, business-focused occupation. With professional YouTubers and their creative jobs being at the front of YouTube since about 2015, the job did not only become appealing to many people, but the hobby also needs to go through gamification to become achievable as a serious job. We can see elements of gamification in having strict upload schedules, paying attention to analytics, and just generally abiding to what the algorithm wants. YouTubers don't just play the game, but the platform itself encourages it too. Within the YouTube Studio app, there's a measure that compares your video to your previous 10 videos. If you did well, there's confetti and everything, a whole fucking party. If you did bad, there's sad gray arrows. Your content is constantly being compared with the past, and the only way to get the dopamine hit of those green arrows is to appeal to the algorithm. Having to play this game to get the job that was purely done out of passion not all too long ago is how the gamification and jobification of YouTube go hand in hand. This is also where my personal disillusionment with the platform lies, so most of this is gonna be my very subjective perspective, because that's what perspectives always are, so I don't know what I'm on about. But it feels like the desire to become a YouTuber or to just keep the algorithm happy has spread all throughout the platform, and this has led to a lot of saturation. I mean, the many YouTubers copying Mrbeast at this point has become an infamous situation, but it goes beyond that. Videos and thumbnails have started to look more alike out of everyone's desires to keep the algorithm happy and to have this job. This becomes an issue of genuine creativity being pushed out in favor of algorithm-abiding videos. If you look at a channel, it's likely you will run into a video that is more artistic, but also maybe has half the amount of views as the videos that are more conventional on that channel. Well, of course, certain types of videos did gain more popularity back in 2015. Popular YouTubers like iHascupquake, for example, would go from baking to gaming to vlogging and to crafting without much punishment to their channels. But now that possibility is being ruled out. I believe that is also why we get so many videos of YouTubers saying that they're unhappy with the platform. Not only YouTubers themselves, but the platform itself is so focused on numbers that creativity is being disregarded. Going back to the YouTube Studio app, the gamification of the numbers makes it near impossible to not connect your own self-worth to them. For people on social media, even if they get that serotonin of creating something that they like, it is likely that that effect will get fucking obliterated by the missing dopamine effect when those sad little gray arrows appear. That is why, despite those videos about discontentment on the platform, we always see those YouTubers going back. Besides that, the jobification has led people to block out having YouTube as just a hobby. The hobby is only a means to achieve the end, being a successful YouTuber. This is something I encounter as well with posting my videos or streaming. I often get asked if I'm grinding to get more subs or to make money, or why I even do this shit anymore if I'm not quote-unquote successful. But when you approach the hobby as the end, you become successful from the start. And honestly, having YouTube or any other type of social media situation or as a full-time job is the last thing I want. To me, posting is akin to many of my other hobbies. I like to sketch around a bit, maybe do a tiny bit of painting, but my goal is not to be in an art gallery. Sure, I enjoy crocheting, but I don't want to have my own fashion brand. I do also have my fun share of working out, but you're not gonna see me running around like a lunatic in the Olympics. Doing my nails is something I've enjoyed for a long ass time, and I've even posted them, but I could not give a flying fuck about being a nail artist full time. These hobbies, drawing, crocheting, working on a nail art, and pretty much any other hobby, have become gamified in a sense, and this is a very good video on that, by the way. I'm not gonna go much into it here, but just go away, watch that or something. But they have not become jobified to its core like YouTube has. It is something you almost can't approach as a hobby without people expecting you to want the job too. Going back to my lawyer comparison, it now almost seems like one can have this job as well without the passion, which makes YouTube seem almost empty at times. Nowadays, I'm not sitting in a lecture hall just being excited about doing simple things because of the YouTubers I see on the platform. Instead, I've almost completely quit being online. get me wrong, I still watch YouTube from time to time when one of my favorite creators is uploaded. But in the last month, it's down to maybe 6 to 10 hours in total. Don't worry, I had the whole YouTube obsessed watching Mrbeast arc some years ago too, but I've noticed I've become much happier being on the platform watching the type of creators I used to in 2015. The ones that, despite them having the desire to have the job as well, just like the rest, also just seem to have fun with it and don't let the algorithm control their every move, just some of them, and those videos I simply blissfully ignore. Disregarding everything, and especially what the platform has come to, I still really do love YouTube. Now I just approach it in a way that doesn't lead me to watch videos devoid of passion, but out of happiness to be there. My whole video making hobby situation has extended so far that at this point I don't need an idol to get me excited to record, though I'll always be grateful for the people that inspired it over the years. All that isn't to say that I'm good at video making now, or that I'm better than anyone, or that YouTube isn't meant to exist as a job. In essence, what I'm trying to say is that I wish YouTube was more approachable as a hobby, like it was in 2015, and that there was just also more room for creativity without punishment. I mean, less than 2 decades ago, the only video on this platform was a man in a zoo, so why should we take ourselves so seriously? You know, obviously because of gamification and jobification, like I've been saying this whole entire time, but why should we take our hobby so seriously? We live in a world where everything is going so fast. I feel like the only way we can keep up sometimes is to constantly be productive as well. But to me, doing something as utterly unserious as painting, crocheting, making music videos, fucking my hands up with clay, or, you know, fuck it, video making most of all, makes it all slow down. Nowadays, this is the hobby that makes me sit in a lecture hall all excited to just go home to stream, edit, write, or just talk. And because I want to keep on doing this for as long as I please to, I'm not gonna let jobification or gamification get to me, because at the end of the day, that is what would kill it.